here simply with a knife. When I remove this piece of skin, that there's, in contrast to the laser, no surrounding scab or blackness. And this is just a clean wound. The edge is nice and smooth, and the underlying tissue is unaffected, of course, by the knife. Compared to the laser burn, the surface of the removed tissue was darkened and somewhat burned.
Here is the scalpel cut again. Not perfectly round, a few angled edges. And here's a perfect oval, cut on a steer we filmed in San Luis, Colorado on October 6, 1979. There was also a perfect circular cut around the eye. The tongue was gone and the lower jaw had been completely stripped of flesh. 2 deputies from the Castilla County Sheriff's Office took us to the mutilation site 5 days after they had first examined the fresh carcass.
Well, Arnold, look, it's changed a little bit. Hey, but look at this now. This is still very, very evident here. Look at this. Of course, you know, our photos will show a complete circular, clean cut, but you can still see it here. Now, look. Now, this looks kind of dry, Arnold. Yeah. But if you'll recall, when we first spotted this, that was just like if you'd taken a pair of scissors and cut out a round piece of paper, you know, like a kid might do in school. Yeah. That's how good it was. And if you'll notice something else, say that an animal had taken that piece of skin out. How can you explain the fact that if he's out to eat and out for flesh, that he wouldn't bore right through that soft portion of the stomach and get into the entrails, which is typical of the way that animals attacked dead, carcasses? That just doesn't make sense to me.
That mutilation in San Luis, Colorado happened around September 29, 1979. 2 weeks later, there was another one in Chama, New Mexico. And by December, there had been more scattered mutilation reports in Kansas, Nebraska, Wyoming, and Iowa. And the number of mutilations being investigated by the Royal Canadian Mounted Police had climbed above 30. Lou Gerardo is the chief investigator for the District Attorney's Office in Trinidad, Colorado.
It's not difficult to tell a predator kill. I mean, a coyote or a bobcat or a lion, of course, will grab and tear. It wasn't that way with any of the mutilations I covered, and the first 2 were amazing. The others had been completely removed with a very clean, apparently a surgical cut. No blood were around the wounds, no blood were around either of the animals, no tracks. Checking the area where the 2 cows were laying, they were underneath some tall oak. We checked the upper branches just in case we had heard of the mutilations in other parts of the country, where the possibility of the animals being dropped, removed from where they were killed and dropped in the area where they were being found. There were no broken branches, no tracks of any kind, human or otherwise, led to or from the animals. The sheriff stayed away from it after he saw what he did see, and there was no explanation of what had happened to the animals. According to the rancher, the night before they had been seen in good health. Nothing was wrong with them. The next day they showed up dead and mutilated. Another interesting fact, a few days after we received a report from a woman who lived in the area of a real dark-colored helicopter with a sling attached underneath, flying near the area where the mutilations had taken place, where the bodies of the carcasses of the animals were found. And that's not the only time a helicopter had been reported prior to or immediately after the mutilation. They seemed to be in the area one time or another. None of these choppers had been identified, no identifying marks. All the reports come in that the choppers were silent. And I've never heard of a silent helicopter. They were always making some type of noise. But these reports were that there was no noise.
Descriptions of dark and silent helicopters, as well as unidentified bright lights, came up in almost every conversation about the cattle mutilation mystery. Some people suggested that the Cobra helicopter developed for air attacks in Vietnam was a quiet helicopter. We went to Fort Carson, an Army base in Colorado, to film a Cobra in operation. We asked the pilot to go out 1 mile, circle, and fly back over us at 500 feet. The Cobra was definitely dark, but never silent, especially on takeoffs and landings.
When we first started hearing reports about the cattle mutilations here at Fort Carson, Colorado, we often wondered ourselves what type of helicopter had the capability of lifting such an animal from one site to another. There's not too many helicopters in the local area that have that capability that I've seen around here. There certainly are not any here at Fort Carson except for the much larger helicopters. And because of the noise that would generate from these helicopters, no animal is going to sit still to allow these helicopters to get within any close proximity of them as they make their approach or land to the area.
Is there such thing as a silent helicopter?
No, not of a completely silent helicopter, no. The helicopter will always make some sort of noise that will scare an animal away that is not used to that type of noise. From the reports that we've read and heard on news and newspapers, it would require somebody of great ability to perform these acts than anybody that I know of in this particular area. Certainly not the military. If I had to choose between aliens of some sort coming down and doing these things to the animals and lifting the animals as compared to having a helicopter of our size or smaller helicopters doing these things, I would probably be more apt to choose the alien aspect of the cattle problems in the military or any other type of small helicopter.
Now, just here this late summer, rather early spring, one of the investigators I've been working with for 5 years dropped in the office, and we discussed what was new. And he said, well, the thing is now, I'll tell you. He says, and I'm inclined to agree with him, that who is doing this now is very possibly creatures not of this planet. Now, that shakes you up a little bit. Creatures not of this planet. You're thinking of Buck Rogers and things like this. But that's the way it is seriously right now. That it's very, very possible that these mutilations are being done by creatures from outer space.
There's a state patrol officer in Dulce, New Mexico, who has not only seen UFOs, but received a substance that dropped from a strange craft that hovered over Taos, New Mexico. Gabe Valdez has been investigating cattle mutilation since 1976.
Either it's got to be a highly sophisticated agency that has total secrecy and the money and technology, or something else involved. But as far as an occult group being involved in it, I think it would have been broken a long time ago.
So what's left?
Either government or extraterrestrial.
You first have to operate under the premise that you believe that some government agency would be responsible for that. To me, it's ludicrous. It's almost ridiculous to conceive that would be a possibility. You're dealing with, if you're talking about the CIA or you're talking about some government spy agency, it just doesn't make sense to me that they would be involved in at random mutilating cattle on individual ranches or farms. If they were involved in something like that, they would have the resources to do it under controlled conditions. So I've never even entertained that thought, even though it's one of the theories that has been thrust into this investigation.
Northwest of Laramie, Wyoming, lives a rancher-farmer named Pat McGuire. His father and grandfather were Wyoming ranchers. He settled down here in 1972 with his wife and 8 children. In September 1976, on a ridge about 2 miles from his trailer house, Mr. McGuire, his brother, and his cousin Mark Murphy found 2 mutilated cows. The following hypnosis session with Dr. Leo Sprinkle, Director of Counseling and Testing at the University of Wyoming in Laramie, is Pat McGuire's effort to recall more details about an extraordinary incident that happened to him at the time of the mutilations. Dr. Sprinkle is one of the world's leading authorities in cases involving UFOs and human abductions. He has personally worked with 47 people since 1967. Pat McGuire was his 28th case and the first concerning cattle mutilations.
Whenever you're ready, just go right ahead. You can talk and describe your experiences.
It's Sunday. It was me and Mark's was driving around checking the cows. Come upon a cow that was dead. They cut the nose off, tongue was out, and the sex organs were gone. Well, I said, one brother said it must have been from a sex cult from the university out here messing around. I says, probably was. I says, we'll catch him yet.
Okay, Pat, you're doing fine. I'd like to have you now turn your attention to the evening that you and Mark were looking at that craft. You were looking through the scope.
I says, Mark, I said, let's get the hell out of here. I said, that star's coming. I says, either that or my eyes are bad. He says, it's coming. It changed from a pure white to an orange. I said, Mark, son of a, it picking up a cow. I says, yeah, hear that cow? Hell, she's bawling.
And it seems to be hovering there over the ridge.
Right, hovering, picking up the cow.
And can you see the cow?
No.
But you can hear the cow?
Right, terrible.
Terrible, bawling?
It's terrible. Worse than I ever heard a cow.
Mm-hmm.
And I've heard a few.
Mm-hmm. Okay, then what
And
happened?
all of a sudden, like they threw a valve or a switch. Everything stopped. The craft is still there. Cows wasn't no ball.
No sound from the cattle?
No, it's like you threw a switch. It was weird. Back of my neck, hair on the back of my neck was straight up.
The next day, you said you drove over there?
Right.
Mm-hmm. What do you find when you drive over?
Oh, we didn't go over there till 10 o'clock in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
We waited till it was damn good daylight.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we weren't taking a chance.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We went and looked all over, along the side of the hill. All we found was there was another cow in 2 miles, just a lone calf, bawling for its mom. I said they took her. We never found her. Never did find her. I've drawn a picture of the spacecraft what I seen that night, and the ridge was 300 feet, and the tip stuck above the ridge, and that'd give you a size of a football field. And as it proceeded from the down from the sky, it was a pure white with, of course, the flashing red and yellow and blue lights. And then it turned to a fluorescent orange, the whole ship did. And it stays this color, and of course it'll glow the whole area up right around where the cow was. The area was deep red, and that's where you could hear that cowbeller.
Relaxation, you can feel yourself even going deeper in.
What you are about to hear is perhaps the first and only known eyewitness account of a mutilation. Because Dr. Leo Sprinkle is recognized as one of the world's leading authorities on cases involving UFOs and human abduction, he was contacted by the Aerial Phenomena Research Organization in Tucson, Arizona, to do hypnosis work with this woman. Her name is Judy Doherty. On a clear moonlit night in May 1973, Judy was driving back from a bingo game in Houston, Texas. She and her mother, daughter Cindy, and brother and sister-in-law watched a strange, bright light hover in the sky. After that night, she suffered terrible headaches and anxiety. In 1978, she underwent one hypnosis session which brought out part of her unusual experience, but not all of it. She also had several psychiatric and personality evaluations, all with results in the normal human behavior range. This second hypnosis session with Dr. Sprinkle occurred on March 13th, 1980.
Now you're standing outside your car. Now you're looking up. You can describe your impressions. What are your impressions?
It's like a spotlight that's shining down on the back of my car. And it's like it has substance to it. I can see an animal being taken up in this. I can see it squirming and trying to get free. And it's like it's being sucked up. It's taken into some sort of chamber. It's a little round, tiny room. And I get nauseated at watching how they excise parts. It's done very quickly, but the calf doesn't die immediately. For some reason, the calf's heart isn't taken, and I don't know. It seems like it's still living, and that upset me very much. And then I can see the calf being lowered. It's like it's being dropped back down. And when it's on the ground, it's dead. I can see that it's not moving. But I feel very sick to my stomach at what I witnessed.
You see the animal being cut up?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. How is it being cut up?
Dissected.
Mm-hmm. With knives?
Instruments of some kind.
Mm-hmm. Can you describe the instruments?
They're like a knife, but they have different kind of handles. More like a razor that's doesn't have movable parts, but like a straight razor type. There's tissue. It's laid out flat and smooth. It glistens. And the needles, there's needles in it, or what appears to be like needles. It may be probes, I don't know. But it has a tube connected to it. And the same thing with what appears to be testicles. Can't tell. There's a probe or a needle or something inserted. And the tube leaving. The same with the eye.
Is anybody else around you?
I feel the presence of other things, but I don't know what they are. I can't see them.
Mm-hmm. You feel you're standing by the side of the road, by your car now, or are you standing someplace else now?
I feel in two places at once.
Okay, describe how you feel.
I feel like that I was able to see what was going on in the craft, but I was also standing beside the road.
Okay, just let yourself focus on what is happening inside the craft. Be aware of who is around you. It's okay. You'll be able to describe who is standing around you.
It appears to be two little men.
Two little men? How do they look?
They look... Their hands look funny. They have long claw nails, like... Okay, they have very large eyes. They're very hypnotic. Like, they're so big that... And they don't blink. Their eyes do not blink. It's almost like, I guess, a snake. They were very snappy about their movements, and they knew exactly what they were doing, and I felt a little better because for some reason, they projected that it was necessary this be done, that, you know, it was for our betterment, for the betterment of mankind that this was done, that they were more or less watching out for us.
So you felt better when you had that
Yes.
impression of not only precision, but also a benevolent or a kind attitude
Right.
toward people?
I can't say that they were kind.
But concerned?
I can't even say that they were concerned.
Mm.
They were just like doing a job that evidently it affects them too. And it has to do with somehow nuclear waste or testing, or they've been here for quite some time, and they test the soil as well as our water, as well as our animal life, our vegetation. When I question why they aren't saying more, and why they can't stop it if they're so knowledgeable. And they get angry. I don't know. I don't understand that.
You don't know why they get angry?
I don't know why they get angry, and I don't know why if they can't stop it if they're so knowledgeable.
At one point in the hypnosis session, Judy doesn't understand why she can see her daughter Cindy in the car one minute and gone the next.
Breathing deeply and easily, let yourself relax. You can be aware of yourself standing by the side of the car. You can be aware of yourself standing in the craft. And now let yourself be aware of where Cindy is.
I know I have a feeling of fear.
Okay, let yourself go on through the experience. Let yourself go on through the fear. What impressions come to mind?
I just visualize her on a table.
Okay, what happens next?
I am afraid that it's going to happen to her, what they did to the animal.
Yeah. Just let yourself relax.
Forget it. No, I don't want to.
You can tolerate it. You know it.
No, I can't.
You know it's all right. Just let yourself go on through. Just relax deeply. You know that everything's going to be okay. You see Cindy on the table. What happens next?
I'm just afraid that they're going to hurt her.
Yeah, you're afraid, but you let yourself go ahead and let yourself go on through the experience. You can be aware. Just let yourself relax deeply. You can be aware of what happens next.
They put her to sleep, I guess.
Okay. You put her to sleep. Okay, what's happening now?
They're just examining her, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm so afraid that they're going to cut her or something.
Okay. Do you say anything?
They don't listen. They just ignore me and just go about their work like it's nothing.
Mm-hmm.
They don't seem to have any emotions. They don't seem to care. I thought they were going to harm her. I thought they were going to do to her what they did to the animals, you know.
But they don't harm her?
No.
No. Okay, well, what does happen?
They just take some samples from her.
Mm-hmm. What kind of samples?
I don't know, just scrapings, like they go inside her mouth.
Mm-hmm.
I can see her laying there, and they just kind of scrape little pieces off.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Any other samples?
That's all I can remember.
The preceding scenes were taken from a 4-hour hypnosis session. Dr. Sprinkle stated afterward that Judy Doherty is, in his professional opinion, a sincere, honest, and credible person. What happened before our camera was her first complete and vivid recall of her 1973 experience in Texas.
They would listen. They just went about their work, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have any emotion or feeling.
Mm-hmm.
They couldn't seem to understand why I would even be upset.
Just like it was routine business for them.
Like a laboratory animal or something.
Mm-hmm.
If extraterrestrials are the ones mutilating animals, what do you think the implications are then for this planet?
Throughout the mutilations, all of us involved have been concerned with the possibility of the mutilations going from animals to human beings, understandably. Thank God to this point it hasn't happened. Whatever they're doing with the portions of these animals they are taking, I haven't the slightest idea. There's a reason for it. It's not haphazard. There's a pattern to it. I don't know. I think it's a wait-and-see game. What else can we do? If we do have beings from outer space doing this, with the capabilities to do things like this, what can we as a human race do? If they have the knowledge and the technology that it looks like they have, we're powerless. So maybe it's a wait-and-see game. I can't see anything else to do.
If a secret probe was being conducted, either by our own intelligence agencies or by UFO entities, then they shouldn't be leaving a mass of carcasses all over the states, because this only invites investigation and speculation and wondering. I would suspect that the carcasses are being left by design to stimulate our particular culture to wonder as to what is happening, who is doing this. If we are dealing with surreptitious, covert, highly cautious culture contact between highly developed extraterrestrials and our Earth planetary civilization, then one of the primary considerations that we must deal with is the problem of culture shock. In any possible contact between civilizations such as I've described, I think that the superior civilization would be very careful to slowly condition the subject culture to its presence so as not to induce what we label as culture shock, which is a very profound psychological, sociological, philosophical disturbance among a people when exposed to a culture which shocks their traditional values, their institutionalized concepts, etc., etc. This is speculation, of course, but an overview of the UFO phenomena leads most of us who've been in the field for a long period of time to view it as cautious reconnaissance conditioning of the planet Earth.